All right, Libra. First, I do feel like you need to prioritize sleep and rest, and especially mental rest or clearing your mind or keeping a lot of space open for your thoughts to breathe. Okay? With the Ten of Wands here and the Knight of Wands, I do feel like anything that you rush to do, or if you have to like rush to somebody's aid, or like if you make any type of like last minute switch, like anything you're doing where you have to decide right away, like in that moment, I feel like has the tendency to add more to your plate. Now, with that being said, this also can go in the other direction where that you're already feeling like overwhelmed and overburdened by all of your responsibilities, by everything that you've taken on, and you might see a clearing this month to get out of Dodge, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not like you to call out of work, or maybe it's not like you to push back a project, or just make like, you know, what it's going to seem from other people that it's out of nowhere. Obviously, it's not really out of nowhere, because I feel like these are working in tandem, these four cards, because it's like the Ten of Wands turns into the Eight of Wands. What was once pressuring you, what was once holding you up, slowing you down, you now drop just enough to fly forward. And I say that because the Eight of Wands is being supported by the Seven of Swords. And I feel that primarily this is because you're going from the 10 to the 8, and what he's leaving behind is 2. I feel like what you're dropping or what you're getting away from, even though it may seem like you're escaping or you're skirting on your responsibilities or whatever, what you're shifting away from to go serve yourself better is extremely important, okay, for your overall growth and for your overall evolution. So to other people, it may seem like you are, you know, kind of trying to, like I said, get out of Dodge, or, you know, you're not showing up the way that they expect you to. It's really because you're trying to just get some time to yourself. And I feel like you're also trying to like direct your energy to the places that need it most, and in the direction that is going to serve you the most. And look at, you go from two swords getting left behind here, and then you move into the Two of Swords with the World in the Page of Swords. So I feel like you know that there's been a chapter that's been trying to close for some time. Okay, a graduation that's trying to take place, a new beginning that's been trying to seed itself for quite some time. But I feel like there has been this constant back and forth of like, well, I don't know exactly what that graduation is going to lead to, therefore I want to put it off. Okay, and I feel like with the Page of Swords here, he's saying that like deep down, you already know what that shift is. Whatever you've been studying, whatever your eye has been drawn to lately, wherever your mind wanders when you're overwhelmed, and you just like, whatever you could do to bring yourself back in your body, like that thing that you focus on that gives you strength when everything else is very trying, I feel like is the direction that you need to take the rest of your life. And I do have the Three of Wands here. Yeah. And I feel like it's going to be something that you haven't really done before, or there's not a lot of steam behind it. And it's in an incubation phase, but it's going to be really beneficial for you, because I feel like all work and no play makes for a really fucking grumpy Libra, okay? All right, Libra. So first, what was it? Like old school Big Sean. He's like, would you leave what you love for who you love? And I feel like that is a question that some of you may be asking yourself this month, or it could be in reverse. You know, will you leave who you love for what you love? Like, so I feel like knowing what you love and what love even means to you at this point is like the paradox that you're having to really unpack, which is a lot. Because it would be so easy to say that, oh, this month is about getting rid of stuff that doesn't serve you, getting rid of people that don't serve you or whatever, but I feel like it's just bigger than that. because you already know. I feel like you already know what connections and scenarios and situations don't serve you. And I feel like you've been trying to plan your exit strategy for quite some time. But there is no strategy and there is no pleasing everybody with whatever route. No matter what route you take, somebody's going to feel some type of way. And I'm telling you that not so that you get further in your head about it, but so that you know disappointment on somebody's behalf is inevitable. But what's worse is you being disappointed or you being aggravated about the direction that things are going in your life. And I feel like for some of you, this is going to be business relationships. For some of you, it's friendships. For some of you, it's, career. And the others of you, it's romantic. There's something that is derailing everything else that you have going on. And you've known this for quite some time. And you've been super hesitant to leave it, okay, with the walking away. Because it's a blanket. I feel it particularly, it's feeling to me as a blanket, okay? Because in the walking away card, which Scorpio got this as well, she's already through the gate. She's already made the decision to step out. And she's already, got, quote, one foot out the door. But she's looking back, and I feel mostly out of regret or fear that she'll, again, regret her decision or feel guilty, or whatever. Because anytime we're pushed outside of our comfort zone, obviously it brings up all of our little, our little trigger points. All right. But your overall energy is the Knight of Swords. So I feel like regardless, no one's telling you to like make some type of snap decision and like, move out of, your house or get a new job, like quit with no notice or nothing crazy. But with the Knight of Swords here, I feel like you are going to be coming to some really harsh conclusions about where you need to direct your energy next, especially as it relates to what you create physically. Now that could be work. Could be things that just are very focused around making your day-to-day life better and having more fulfillment in your day-to-day life. But I feel like ultimately the topic of love is relevant. And it's like, do you love what you do? What do you even love? Like, even if you can't picture a perfect career, what ideally in your mind do you love to do, right? Or how do you like to serve people? What do you love about your partner? What about the relationship serves you and brings you to a deeper place of understanding within yourself? All that kind of stuff. So, as much as I don't want to say you're going to be jumping to conclusions this month, 'cause I don't necessarily think that's what it is. I feel like there's going to be a lot of information that's like funneling through your crown chakra and coming in, and it's going to take you some time to sort it out. I feel like there was something else I needed to say. I can't think of it right now. All right. What you're being asked to leave behind, we have the Ace of Swords with the Five of Wands. And on the Five of Wands, we have the rune Success. I just told this to Taurus, and that's probably why I was led to do you guys next, with you being a Venusian sign as well. I feel like you need to stop working at cross purposes with yourself. I feel like there's something that's going on either spiritually or mentally that is causing like a very polarizing internal landscape. Because success with the Five of Wands is like really battling in going back and forth about whether or not you, quote, have what it takes, or if you're even successful, or if you stop doing this to go into something else, would that hamper and derail all that you've done so far and all that you've built? And like you're having a lot of those kind of conversations to yourself. If you were thinking about leaving a job and going back out on the job force, like looking for work, and because again, I'm not saying to quit your job with no money in the bank, but like in my experience, in my own personal experience, the way that spirit works with me, like I usually don't find new things to replace old things until I fully leave the old thing. That's just me. And I've seen that happen for a lot of other people too. So this can be too where you're like, work is like really tough and like you don't like it there and you have a lot of chaotic energy at work. And then you come home and you're still in a chaotic vibration and you look for jobs out of replacement. Like, well, I'm sick of this bullshit. I want to be somewhere else. And it's like that energy is too staticky to bring in a new job that you're clear about. So I feel like you've already identified the issue, and I feel like you've already identified that unsettled, kind of chaotic, staticky energy, but you need to do something about it. And I feel like execution is where you are lacking, and a lot of it's living all in your mental space, because we do have a decent amount of swords cards here, not so much pentacles. And I feel like Spirit is saying that you finally need to put your skill set to use and do something about that which has brought you so much disturbance. The door that's now open, that was once closed, we have the Two of Cups with the Seven of Swords. And on the Seven of Swords, we have the rune Strength. So I feel like relationships at this time, again, of any kind, right, are just more draining and distracting than they usually are. Okay? And I feel like, again, this isn't about you needing to leave people behind. But sometimes we're at points in our life where we have so much going on personally that we just don't have the strength and the mental capacity to give people our time and attention. And they deserve it, right? They deserve that time and attention. They deserve that listening ear. But like, if you have too much going on in your life, you can't be that for them. And that doesn't make you a bad person, right? But I also feel like you may have not communicated this to those people. You may have not said, like, listen, I have too much going on mentally to give you what you deserve. I don't want to stop being friends, or I don't want to break up or whatever, but I do need that time. And I've said that I can understand not wanting to have a conversation like that, because it definitely is going to trigger the other person's anxiety, right? For sure. Most people can't handle having to really, the stuff that it takes and the commitment that it takes to honor your own needs and your partner's needs. But I feel like there's just this need to also not lose yourself in any type of connection and relationship. I also feel like Strength with the Seven of Swords here is saying that you may not tap into it often, because maybe it makes you feel like a savage, or makes you feel like someone who doesn't care and is just very like, pursuing their own agenda. But I also feel like you really have the ability to separate yourself from people, in the sense that, like, you can be really good at, like, leaving work at work, or really good at, like, not, putting other people's shit out of your mind and not caring at all about it. And I feel like there is some sort of resistance to really doing that. Because I don't know if you're afraid of pushing people away, and then, like, regretting it later because then you're alone. Because I did get this feeling earlier that, like, y'all needed a blanket. Like, 'cause you were so cold. Like, and I kind of pictured the Five of Pentacles. But it wasn't necessarily physical separation. It was like, there's a fear that if you create the separation with people that you love, people that are supportive, or people that feed you somehow, right? Feed you energy, feed you money, and whatever. There's something here about a fear of isolation and what would come from that. And you maybe not being able to handle that level of distance, okay, and feeling very unsupported, but knowing simultaneously that you created it. And talking about this alone is making me tired. So I feel like you also may be giving people time that you should at this point in your life be spending sleeping, and you're not, okay. But you spend time with them instead, out of guilt, okay. Your energy, as it relates to all of this, in your head, we have the Four of Cups and the Eight of Wands. In your heart, the Four of Swords. And in the foundation, we have the Empress. On the Four of Swords, we have the rune Protection. So again, I feel like there does need to be some sort of emotional withdrawal from people and from scenarios, so that you know what energy is yours, what emotions are yours, and which ones are other people's. Because I feel like that's part of it too. I feel like there's too much, like, swirling around in the collective for you to really be able to discern what is yours and what is someone else's. So in order to protect your emotional body and being able to observe how you're feeling and really actually wrap your mind around it, you are potentially going to have to kind of detach from people and tell them not to take it personal and hope that they don't. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is, again, some of your resistance. You're like, well, I don't think they're going to get it. You know, I don't know if they're going to understand. I think they're going to get upset. You know, but you have to do what's best for you. In your head, Four of Cups and the Eight of Wands, I feel like, is saying that once you start to open yourself up to, you know, this idea that you don't want to be stuck anymore. Because I feel like you've been stuck in this Four of Cups energy for quite some time. And it's like, I feel like mentally you can see how to get out of it with the Eight of Wands here, and you can see how to push past it and push forward in that, you know that there's a direction that you can tap into that will make you feel a lot more free and make you feel a lot more fulfilled. But you're not quite sure, I think, how to tap into the level of power, or you're afraid to tap into the level of power that level of stewarding over your life would require. Because with the Empress in your foundation, again, this is the Taurus had the Empress too, but it was in their headspace. And again, it's a card ruled by Venus. And to really work with feminine Venusian energy, this requires a lot of luxury and beauty and innate deserving, where it's almost like you sit up a little bit taller, you stand a little bit more poised, that type of deserving, and it has to come from your core. And I feel like you have a hard time owning that. Okay, I feel like you have a hard time owning your regal energy out in front of other people because you don't want to appear like pompous or something, or you don't want to appear like you don't care, because that's not the case. But you're like, listen, like, I can attract better for me in a second, like, but I have to release you. I also feel like at the root of everything is what you really want and what you want to get through. You absolutely can, have the power to receive, but it is going to require you to first turn that corner and walk away fully, because you're kind of bullshitting on the corner when it comes to walking away. And with the Knight of Swords, again, as the overall energy, I feel like you're going to get potentially offers this month or comments from people that are going to make you assert your value with the Empress here. Spirit's advice on how to handle this energy. We have the Queen of Pentacles, clarified by the Ten of Cups. And on the Ten of Cups, we have the rune Constraint. So I feel like for some of you, working the amount of hours, or again, taking work home, or feeling like you always need to show how valuable and worthy you are of things through physical effort and execution, is inhibiting your ability to be as happy as you can be and be as emotionally fulfilled as you can be. Because I just feel like there's a lot of tasks on your plate, okay? And I feel like you're like on 24/7. You know what I mean? You don't have your downtime is not really used to be downtime. And the Queen of Pentacles as advice with a restrained version, a capped version of the Ten of Cups, I feel like is saying too that also you may think that a relationship or friends or emotional fulfillment could fill the gap in whatever area of life that you're lacking in, but it can't. Wherever you're lacking, and I feel like it's in work, feeling purposeful at work, or having the money to do more things, and or feeling like you want to spend more time beautifying your home, you want to be able to clean more or whatever, right? Because this is the Queen of Pentacles is a woman on her grind who births anything and everything that she could possibly need through effort, right? Through physical, tangible effort. I feel like you need to almost work more in the physical realm right now. I feel like everything that you need is through physical action, in planting seeds that will materialize. I don't think that trying to just purely tap into bliss or purely tap into love or just tapping into other emotions through different modalities are really going to do it. Okay, and going forward into April, we have the Two of Swords. with the rune love and the Ace of Pentacles. And again, I feel like there's this indecision of like, what do I really love? I don't know what I love. And I feel like if you don't know how you feel about something or someone, that doesn't mean check out completely, but it does mean to like pull back and reassess your skill level and reassess what you bring to the table. So I feel like that's really important too. I feel like somehow the love you experience and the fulfillment you experience is capped by how valuable you think you are and how essential and deserving you think you are to a situation. Because Two of Swords in love is someone who is not really wanting to make a decision. I feel like you guys have been getting Two of Swords for quite some time. It's like, well, I don't know what I'd rather do. I hate my job. I don't know what I'd rather do. You know what I mean? I don't like that I have to work all these hours, but I also don't want to cut back my spending. You know, all that kind of shit. It's like catch-22 type of energy. But I feel like going into April, after the equinox, you are going to be able to start to find real tangible solutions to getting through this. That is going to, Chariot, move you forward into a more balanced, paced environment where Three of Cups, you're celebrated and supported by community. Okay? Libra, I almost said Taurus. I hope this was helpful. It's been my pleasure, and I talk to you again soon. Peace.